Okay, so I'm Gen X Cosplay, and I had a solid question on one of the Pepakura groups about how to do silhouette cameo in your Pepakura. So I figured I'd do a quick video tutorial for everybody to how I do it, which may not be the way everybody else does it, but it works for me. So here we go. So the first thing I did is I've got it opened here in Designer. So if I need to make any changes size-wise and anything like that, I can do it here. This is actually an X-Men belt buckle logo, very similar to what's on the Cyclops cosplay if you're doing the 90s version, 92 version. It is already sized, but I have not actually cut this on the silhouette before. So what I'm going to do is set up some things how I do it with silhouette. First thing I want to do is I want to go in and make sure under my print and paper settings that I'm on letter paper. My printer can only print on letter paper, so that's all I can do for this. Even though this Cameo can cut 12-inch paper width by 12-inch paper, actually can cut longer than that, but you can cut 12 by 12-inch paper, but I don't have a printer that can print that. So otherwise I could probably do this on one sheet of paper, but what I'm going to do is also make sure my side margin and my top margins are 15. This may be different based on your printer. You need to see where your printer cuts off printing. Not every printer can print as close to the bottom of a page as other printers. I know for some HP printers, they have a lot larger bottom margin when it comes to printing for the registration marks. So you need to check with your printer, make sure, and set these margins to fit that requirement. I've got it on vector print because that's what I want. I don't want a page number, and I don't need alignment marks because there's nothing that bleeds over, and I'm cutting it out anyway, so I'm not going to lay two sheets together to glue them, tape them together to be able to cut out one piece. So we're good there. So the other thing I want to do is I want to go into other settings. And under line style, I want to hit everything as solid lines. And you may be asking me why I'm doing this. And there's one reason, is because I don't run the sheet through twice. I run it through one time, and I have it perforate all of the fold lines, and then cut all of the cut lines. So basically, it perforates it like a coupon would be, and makes it easier to fold, but you don't have to run the sheet through twice. You don't have to make sure the alignment marks, the registration marks register twice. It's a little bit quicker that way. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click up here, right here on to where it says Set Edge Color. And I'm going to turn off my mountain and my valley. And I'm going to have it select for red. So red is going to be my mountain line. And you kind of want to remember this. And I'm going to drag and drag over the entire workspace over here. And then I'm going to unclick mountain, click valley, and I'm going to choose the color, and then I'm going to go with blue on it. And then I'm going to come and drag again. So if you look, you can see right here where I've zoomed in that this is a blue line, this is a blue line, and this is a red line. So that means that's a mountain fold, these are valley folds. Pretty simple. My numbers are fine, we're all good that way. So what I'm now going to do is I'm going to hit, and I'm going to save it. Now that's saved, all that's done, I don't need Designer any longer. I'm not going to print from Designer. I'm actually going to print from Pepakura Viewer 3, which I'm still using 3. I haven't upgraded to 4, mainly because I just haven't taken the time to do it. And I'm going to open the file up. So here it is, X-Men belt logo. So you may notice the 3D image looks a little bit different in here. That's because this doesn't bother with rendering the 3D image as much because you're basically just doing. And if you look, you can see where you have this registration mark here, here, and here. What you want to do is under settings, you go into your print settings, you make sure you're still on vector, you don't print page number, thickness line is fine. Hit OK. Now we're going to go into our registration mark settings, and we want to make sure that these print, and we have 10, 10, 10, and 10, which means that it prints 10 millimeters from the edge of the page. So it's basically 5 millimeters from the margin of the page. So we hit OK. But we want to know that so that when we go into the Silhouette Studio software to know how to set that up to do it. So what we're going to do is we're actually going to hit print from this. I print on my printer. I tell it all. I go in under properties. Tell it that I'm going to print, that I'm going to print on cardstock. Good to go. I'm not actually going to print this right now. And then you want to go to Export DFX File for Silhouette Cameo. And you come in here and you choose where you want to save it. You hit save. Give it a couple of minutes, especially if it's a really large file, because it can take a while to format all of these pages. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to open up my Silhouette software. And I'm going to hit open in here. Let me go back to where it was, because that's what I was working on for Halloween was Scarlet Witch. So here's my Wolverine file. So I have X-Men Belt Logo 01, X-Men Belt Logo 02. So those are my page 1, page 2. So I hit open on 1. Now it's going to pull it in. And you see how it makes it bigger. Well, what I want to do is I want to tell it that I'm putting it on letter paper. So that's going to fix that right there. I'm doing on a 12 by 12 mat, so I'm set there. There's no other changes I need to make on this one. Then I want to click this button right here, which is called the Open Registration Marks window. And I want to turn my registration marks on. And I want to choose type 1 because I'm using a Cameo. Now what I need to do here, though, is I need to change all of these to 10 to match my software. And if you notice before, I'll do that one back down to 15 so you can see it. There is this green kind of line right here. That's to show you to make sure you matched up right. Now, the way the Pebacura software works is it actually inverts the registration marks. It doesn't print them the same way Silhouette would if you drew something in Silhouette and printed it and then cut it out, like on using a Picscan mat or importing your own artwork and then cutting around it. So now that we've got that all done, next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to edit and I'm going to select by color. The green, I don't want it to print. It's not printed. The only thing it serves is to make sure that it's there, that the registration marks are lined up. So I'm actually just going to select that and hit delete on it. Okay. Now I'm going to select my blue lines. And I'm going to come up here because I've got it spaced over so I'm not covering up anything with the webcam mark, with my face. I'm going to go to Cut Settings. And I want to actually tell that, because that is my blue lines, that I want to perforate them and I want them to be on cardstock. Let me go back to select my color again. Go blue. Select by color. So you got it on perforate and we're doing cardstock. Nothing else we really need to change there. Now we just want to go to select by color. Select our red. Go to our cut lines again. We're going to tell it that those perforate too. If you notice over here, you'll see it now where it shows a perforation as opposed to a solid line. So now we can go to our black, select by color, go to our black, and we're going to go again to our cut settings, and it says cut, and we've got it on cardstock. So, as long as you're using 110, somewhere around that neighborhood paper, 110 pound paper, I can't remember what the GSM rating is right now off the top of my head, but cardstock plain is fine. I usually go, if you scroll down, it'll tell you what setting to set your knife at. I usually go one higher than that just to be careful, especially if it's a brand new mat, because it can, if it doesn't cut all the way through, it can tear as you're pulling them off, and that can cause some issues. So then once we've got everything set and we've printed them out, where it's going to hit send to silhouette. Mine's not turned on right now, but if it was, it would hit start. It would give you the option to, do you want to manually do the registration marks, or do you want to have it do it? Basically, what you do is you'll stick the mat in, load the mat, tell it automatically. It will pull the mat in. There's a sensor inside the cutter head that holds the knife that basically says, can read those lines and know where the page is registered. So it knows it's cut. Now, the only thing is about doing with the silhouette cameo. If you look, you will notice that the silhouette is here under this area, and the arrow is pointing down. Normally, when you put something in, the arrow is pointing up when you're creating something in silhouette yourself. So if you look, and I don't know if you can, let me see, zoom, we go 200%. If you look, you will notice that the 1 is here. So you want the right side of the piece of paper that you're holding in your right hand to be lined up with the 12-inch side, so that it'll go from 12 down to 3.5, as opposed from 1 to 8.5. That's because of the way the registration marks print and whatever. But other than that, the only time else you may have an issue, cancel this, is if you look in here, sometimes if you have something that's really square, if you notice like this edge right here is really square. If it were turned to where more like a cross arrow, and I had it really close to this registration mark, it may read wrong and read this as the registration mark instead of this because of the way it's made. So basically just keeping stuff at an angle to the registration mark is going to help you keep that from happening. And you let it cut. Takes maybe, for something like this, perfing and cutting would take maybe, so this has a lot of cuts and perfs and pieces on it. May take 5 minutes at most, and you're all good. So if you have any questions, you can ask underneath in the comments, and I'll try to respond to you as quickly as I can, and we'll see if we do another video. Thanks, guys.